Hi, everyone. Welcome to, I've lost count now. I think it's the fourth edition of From Gully to Gully. I'm with Zahid. Look, I think we find ourselves in familiar territory again. We're on the eve of a must win game to qualify for the final. We have an inferior net run rate, which may come into play because there's rain going around. And we needed support and help from external factors in order to even get to this position. I have this famous 80s song in the back of my mind, How Did We Get Here? And I've got Zahid with me to unpick all that and more. Zahid, 72 hours ago, we were saying 9 or 10 out of the 11 players in the Pakistan team are sure shots. Suddenly, that feeling feels a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I think a mix of injuries and ridiculously poor form has meant that probably we're down to four or five short shots, just about. Imagine the state of Pakistan cricket when you know Iftikhar Ahmed is one of the short shots to start. So quite a dilemma. I mean, to be honest, look, as far as the fast bowlers are concerned, I don't think it's a bad thing in the long run. I do think they needed a rest at some point. I mean, the way India have ended up, the way it's worked out for India, it's perfect. They can play their B team against Bangladesh, and their fast bowlers can get a bit of a rest, which is fine. We don't have that luxury, so we would have had to play our best team. So in a way, they're forced. Naseem and Haris are forced to rest, so that's good. Agha Salman, we were not big fans of, so he's going to be sitting out apparently because he smacked a ball in his face. Again, back to the helmet point in the previous episode. So yeah, in a way, I think it's worked out well. Query whether we can beat Sri Lanka, depending on the conditions. If it's a pitch like there was for the India-Sri Lanka game, I am doubtful. But look, I think as chaotic as it is, and Pakistan cricket sometimes does thrive when things are a lot more chaotic. So you never know. I think it's not the worst thing in the world for Pakistan.
I think we've reached a certain phase in our trajectory where I'm not even sure which conditions suit us because we struggle on pacey, bouncy wickets in Australia and England, and we blame it on the conditions. And then now we say that, oh, it's spinning too much. Oh, that doesn't suit us. And then if it's completely flat and there's nothing to support our trump cards, or even that doesn't suit us. But what does suit us, right? I mean, that's the question now. Because Kuldeep Yadav made this statement saying that he will remember uh, getting 5 wickets against Pakistan because they're good players of spin. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know which Pakistan you're talking about, but Mohammad Rizwan at number 4, just, or as they say, they call him now Legwan because he
Yeah.
just hits on the onside. I'm not sure how good we are.
But I think what the interesting point, and not focusing too much on Pakistan is actually what Sri Lanka do, whether they do what they've done, they play against, because they themselves struggled against Kuldeep. Okay, Pakistan doesn't have that kind of skill set. Hello, Shadab Khan. But for them, I think it's also because the batting is relatively inexperienced. As is the case, Pakistan backs against the wall, they can come out and do well. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, but can we not be as optimistic or pretend to be as optimistic as the Pakistan coach who came out and said, thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. We don't get to play really high quality players or get to play against high quality teams. So this is a real blessing. I mean, it sounded as if he was the coach of the Netherlands.
I know.
I
I
mean,
was wondering. I had to
lamenting.
reread. Is that the Netherlands coach? Is that like the Zimbabwe coach? We don't get to play top quality opposition.
I have no idea. But I think what he was saying was, I think what he was that we don't get to play against India and that often, and we're not therefore as exposed to
And
that
he said
high
something
pressure
about and he said
intensity.
something about being getting used to the conditions that they'll get in the World Cup. But they've been playing in these conditions for the last 3 months.
For
Some
three
of them
months, yeah.
consistently through the Lanka Premier League. So I don't think you can really blame conditions. And then half the time they've had to play in Multan where the pitches or Lahore where the pitches have been slightly different. So I'm not sure how that
Yeah, I mean,
really works.
I would have much rather him just come out and say, look, we had a bad day, and these are the things we need to do, and just owning up to it, because that's something that Mickey Arthur, in fairness to him, did well. But this guy was just talking about how this was the greatest
Speaking
gift
of
to the Pakistani people.
speak of Mickey Arthur, where has he disappeared again? I don't know what's going on. He was there for a couple of matches, and now he's gone again. What kind of a system do they
Yeah,
have in place?
classic Pakistan. I don't think even think they know. But look, speaking of the selection, right? It's coming back to that point. It's not that straightforward, right? Because
Yeah,
if both seamers, Naseem and Haris, don't play, yes, Wasim gets in. But then do you then promote Fahim to the third seamer and get in an Osama Mir or a Muhammad Nawaz, or do you then bring in a Dhani? I mean, I'm personally for getting in an Osama Mir, because I think you need to test. This is the ideal time to test your spin department strength, which is clearly lacking.
Yeah, look, I think if it's going to be against Sri Lanka, so I'm pretty sure it'll be a similar pitch, and that's why they'll have to go with Fahim as your third seamer, and then you'll have 3/3.5 spinners, Saud Shakil, Iftikhar Ahmed, whatever. So I think that's what they'll go with, and I think that's what they should go with. I think to throw in Dahani and Zaman Khan in the same match, out of match practice, I don't know what they've been doing. It's too risky. At least Osama Mir has been part of the squad. He's played a couple of games, so I would rather play him, to be honest. Even Mohammad Nawaz, I wouldn't mind. As we saw, left arm spin did pretty well, although I'm not sure about the relative skill levels of an under 19 player like Wellalage and Mohammad Nawaz, who's supposed to be an experienced campaigner. But I would go with the spin option, and that also means that not that it makes a big difference, but your batting kind of goes down till 9 because you'll have Fahim Ashraf coming in at 9.
But I mean, speaking of Kuldeep Yadav, right? I mean, that guy has inspired me to start taking up my dormant left arm Chinaman. I mean, if you go back to the days of Brad Hogg, who was the least exciting player in that Australian team, to now Kuldeep Yadav, where every ball seems like it's unplayable. Now it could, yes, it's also down to quality of batters, I suppose, also. But I mean,
wait till he comes up against Johnny Bairstow and Jason Roy in the World Cup, or whoever opens for England. That's the last time because we had this Kuldeep and Chahal thing in 2019 also. And then that one game against England completely destroyed their careers for 3 years. So you never know what's around the corner. So maybe that's the way we should play. Fakhar Zaman, get down one knee and sweep the hell out of them. But
I hope that Fakhar Zaman doesn't play against Sri Lanka. He may come really good, and I'll be sort of eating all my words back. But I think this is the time. In all seriousness, the issue is the opposition has found Fakhar Zaman out. He has clear weaknesses. This is the ideal time to test Abdullah Shakil. It's almost like it's the last chance.
Yeah, just to clarify, we're recording this before Pakistan's. They're probably going to release the team a day before the match. We are recording this before, so we are not sure what the team is. Hence our guessing games. But by the time this video comes out, Pakistan would have proactively, without looking at the conditions, already announced their team because they're so confident of beating Sri Lanka, regardless of who they put out.
And now they'll feel like they have to, just to show to everyone that they're unfazed by the Indian game, when we all know that's not true. And look, I mean, the game today, we saw India beat Sri Lanka. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't a one-sided victory. It was actually probably the best game of this tournament so far. And now it opens it up quite nicely.
There's something about these low-scoring semi-thrillers. I wouldn't call it a thriller, but these low-scoring games, it's got its charm. It takes you back to the 90s, early 2000s, where 210, 220, is a winning score. So there's a touch of nostalgia to that performance. But yeah, I think such matches are few and far between, and I doubt we'll see much of that in the upcoming World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, so let's go to our favorite segment, which is predictions. Something that you have aced in the last in the last video. So let's go into it. So Pakistan, Sri Lanka, highest scorer highest wicket taker, prediction for who wins, and my favorite question, Chacha strike rate.
Right. So assuming our best friend Rain stays away, I am going to go with a Pakistan victory. I'm going to go with Babar Azam to be the top run scorer. Oh, wicket taker is difficult because I don't even know who's going to play for Pakistan. Shine would be the obvious option, but I'm going to go with Wellalage again because he's a left arm spinner and we are not good against left arm spin. So NFG strike rate 90.
So Sir Shakil, that's why Sir Shakil needs to play to negate that. But anyways, right. I think Pakistan are going to edge it. I think top run scorer is going to be Saud Shakil. And I really hope he plays and he cements his team. And I think, yeah, if he plays. If he doesn't, well, too bad. Then that's void for me. But and the highest wicket taker, I think I'm obliged, given how much I've roasted Shadab Khan, to say, look, I back him. And I hope that his back against the wall brings out the best in him. I think he's a good bowler. He just needs to get used to bowling with the extra fielder inside the circle, right? That's why it's so tough with spinners, because you need control. Every third ball is a long hop. I think tomorrow, when this video is released, it'll be a different story. So I'll go with Shadab Khan. Chacha strike rate, 100. You can see the optimism going down. I was 140 in the first video, 130 in the second, and now I'm in a 100.
Yeah, 2 of 2 is also 100 strike rate, so that counts.
Yeah, 2 of 2, exactly. Thank you. Next one, I'll be at sort of 70, but never mind. So there you have it. Let us know your thoughts on Pakistan selection dilemma. It's probably the chaos before a series triumph. That's all that we're hoping for, at least. But look, let's hope for a good game. Let's hope for Rains to stay away, and let's hope Pakistan have recovered and put on a good fight.
Thank you.